Greetings, Phil Hunters. Well, our look at Supernatural Season 1 now continues on with Provenance. The scene opens on a young couple putting up a painting on their mantle. They flirt for a minute, then the woman heads upstairs and a shadowy figure enters. The man walks into the room to find his wife is dead and bloodied and is then killed. The boys arrive in upstate New York, where Margaret and Telesco were found dead in a logged house. The latest in a series of murders over a number of decades in the same area, according to research from John's journal. They visit the Telesco home, but there are no signs of any supernatural activity. All the furnishings have been taken to an auction house, so they decide to check it out, in case the spirit has itself attached to an object. They turn up at the auction house, where the owner, Daniel Blake, tries to get them to leave. They speak to his daughter, Sarah Blake, who also works at the auction house, and who confirms that the Telesco estate is being auctioned. Before she could tell them any more, her father, having discovered Sam and Dean are on the guest list, asks the boys to leave. Dean thinks Sarah shows some interest in Sam, and suggests he take her on a date in order to get more information. Over dinner, Sam reveals she hasn't been on a date since her mother died unexpectedly a year ago. Sam gets copies of the provenances of the items of the Telesco house. Dean finds that a portrait of Isaiah Merchant's family painted in 1910 was also owned by the other families that had been killed. After dark, Sam and Dean return to the auction house and burn the painting. The next day, Dean pretends that he has dropped his wallet at the auction house, purely so Sam can see Sarah again. When they get there, they are shocked to find the painting is still there and unharmed. At the local library, they found out that Isaiah Merchant was accused of killing his wife, 2 sons, and adopted daughter. Back at the motel, Sam notices in a picture of the painting is an old book. Isaiah is staring straight ahead, and in the painting now is looking down to the right, towards the girl. Dean also encourages Sam to pursue Sarah, but Sam is reluctant. He calls Sarah to see if they can view the painting again, only to find it has been sold to a friend of Sarah's named Evelyn. The boys rush to the house just as Sarah arrives, but they find Evelyn already dead, her throat slashed. After alerting the police, Sarah and the boys return to the motel room, where they explain to her that the picture is haunted. Despite being scared, Sarah resolves to help them. Back at Evelyn's house, they examine the painting and notice more features in the painting have changed. Amongst other things, there is now a mausoleum in the picture with the name Merchant on it. They track down the mausoleum, where all of the family cremated remains are housed. However, Isaiah Merchant is not interred there. Dean finds that Isaiah was buried in a pauper's grave and goes to Salt to burn the corpse. Later, the 3 of them return to burn the painting as a precaution, but Sam and Sarah get trapped inside Evelyn's house and attacked by the spirit of Melanie Merchant, who had been responsible for the murders all along. Their father was looking towards her in the portrait, but out when she left, and restraining some of her power. Now that his spirit is gone, she is more dangerous. Dean returns to the mausoleum and burns an antique doll which bears some of Melanie Merchant's hair. This finally dispels her spirit. Back at the auction house, Sam orders the painting burned and says farewell to Sam and Dean. As they are about to leave, Sam returns and kisses Sarah, deciding to stay in town for a few days so they can be together, finally starting to let Jessica go. Aww. So let's take a look at some continuity surrounding this episode. This is the first appearance of Sarah Blake. And on to some trivia surrounding this episode. When Sam and Dean arrive at the auction, we can see 3 luxury cars parked next to the Impala. The second is a Bentley with New York license plate, the Crip. This is a reference to Supernatural creator and former executive producer Eric Kripke. And now finally onto some errors. When Dean is researching the blade in the painting with Sam and Sarah, he calls his brother Jared, which is the name of the actor who plays Sam, instead of Sam. When Dean hits the coffin with a shovel, the first time a hollow metal sound effect is used. In the next shot, we see the coffin is wood, not metal. Before Melanie's ghost goes up in flames and her image returns to the painting, the razor is visible on the table in the painting despite also being in her hand. Before and after Melanie's image returns to the painting, the image of the razor is open. When it's packed up before being burned in the next shot, it's closed again as it should be. So overall, I think this is a pretty decent episode of the show. Not good, not bad, just decent. So yeah. So overall, I give the episode Provenance 3 angel blades out of 5. Well, anyway, tune in tomorrow as we take a look at Dead Man's Blood. So, until then, carry on, my wayward sons and daughters.